so often we get in our heads that we've got to like figure everything out and then get started. And if you do that with homeschool, you're never going to get started.
This episode is for new moms, those who are considering homeschooling, as well as for the veteran moms, because I know it's, now that we've just finished a school year, we're looking towards the next school year and we're trying to figure out like, how do we do this? What does this look like for us for the next year? And every year comes with changes. And so whether you've been homeschooling for 20 years or you're just trying to figure out what this homeschool thing is, this is an episode that will be really helpful for any of you. And so I want to start though by talking to those moms who maybe are just brand new to homeschooling. They're bringing their kids home, or maybe they've got little ones who are just entering those pre-K and kindergarten years. And they're like, I don't know what to do. I never planned to homeschool, because that was me. And just, they have no clue where to even start. So how do you help those moms? Where do they start?
Well, the first thing I want to say to moms who are new to this or moms of young kids is you do not have to figure out everything from the very beginning. Like, so often we get in our heads that we've got to like figure everything out and then get started. And if you do that with homeschool, you're never going to get started. Your kids are going to be grown and gone, because I've been doing this for 11 years now and I still don't have it all figured out. So you just have to start where you are. And what you start with is not necessarily the definition of what your homeschool is going to be forever and ever. Amen. So you get started with where you are right now and know that things can morph and change. That I was that person who we knew from the very beginning we were going to homeschool, even before, my first child could talk. And I'm a researcher. And so I love to just research, and I read all the books and I got all the things and everything. And when she was 2, I had this spreadsheet all planned out of every single curriculum we were going to do from the time she started kindergarten until the time she graduated high school when she was a senior. And it was all planned. And I think I used it for like 4 months before I threw it out. And she's okay. She's okay. It's still doing fine. So you don't have to figure everything out. You just have to plan for the year that's in front of you right now. And if there are some things that may not even last the entire year, and it's okay.
Right. Yeah. I love you giving that permission, just saying it's okay, because we tend to think we have to have our entire year planned out. Because if you look at a teacher, which you used to be, any teacher who's in the classroom, they have to plan out their entire year before the year begins, and they have to know where they're going because they have a class who's depending on them, and parents and an administration who's depending on them, and they have to turn that in and they have to answer to someone for that. But it's so different with homeschooling. And we've talked about that many times, that homeschooling is just very different. It's not a playbook that, I mean, it is in a sense, and we're going to talk about that, but it's not a hardcore playbook. This is exactly how it's going to be this year. And every mom who tries to do that ends up feeling so inadequate and like they're failing, because most moms can't keep up with that when they try to plan it, especially if you're a brand new homeschooler.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, and you touched on this here, is to sit down and think about what is the purpose behind creating a plan for my homeschool. And you're right. When you have teachers, actually teachers are given their curriculum, so they don't get to choose which books or resources that they use, but then they have to be able to communicate to somebody else exactly what it is they're going to do. And so they do have to kind of lay things out and talk about objectives and things like that. But for you as a homeschool mom, you have to ask yourself, what are my goals behind creating a homeschool plan? And something you may not have thought about, and this I think is the number one goal for moms who are creating a homeschool plan, is the purpose behind it is to reduce decision fatigue as you go through your school year, because this is the biggest problem you're going to face. I read somewhere that like human beings make like 10,000 decisions, like choices a day.
Oh gosh.
We don't even think about it. We just make so many choices. Well, if you're a homeschool mom and you have 3 kids, multiply that times 4 people, because you're not only making decisions for you, you're making decisions for everybody else as well. And so we have to think about things ahead of time. And that's what homeschool planning is. It's just thinking about things ahead of time so that we can reduce the decision fatigue. It's not so that when, Tuesday, September 23rd pops up on our calendar, we know exactly what we're doing at 9 a.m.
Right.
if you plan like that, that's just going to be an exercise in frustration.
Right.
Instead, it's when Tuesday morning rolls around and everything is going pretty well, what are the options that we could do now?
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.